Want to speak and understand English better without memorizing grammar rules? Let stories do the work for you. In this video, you'll hear an exciting story that feels real, simple, and full of useful English phrases and grammar patterns. Listen with your ears, learn with your brain, naturally. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and turn on the bell so you never miss the next story. Let's start. Layla had always dreamed of watching a World Cup match live. But when her favorite team reached the quarterfinals, all the stadium tickets were already sold out. So instead, she did the next best thing. She went to the official fan zone. It was in the center of a huge city, next to a park, surrounded by tall buildings, food stalls, and big screens. Layla was 20 years old, studying media and journalism, and she was visiting the city for a few days during the tournament. She wore her team's jersey, comfortable shoes, and a small crossbody bag. She arrived at the fan zone early in the evening, just before the sun went down. There were people everywhere. Flags, music, horns, drums, people dancing, shouting, laughing. The energy was electric. She smiled. It felt like she was part of something bigger. The match was starting at 9 in the evening, but by 7, the area was already full. Security guards directed people into different sections. Screens showed highlights from past games. Fans painted their faces and took photos with strangers. Layla bought a drink and a sandwich. Then she found a spot near the center, where the view of the screen was clear. People kept arriving, and arriving, and arriving. By 8, she couldn't move her feet. There were people behind her, in front of her, on both sides. She looked up at the screen and tried not to think about it. But the truth was, she had never been in a crowd this big before. At first, everything felt exciting. The music played loudly. The screen showed the players warming up. The crowd started chanting. Layla took out her phone to film the moment, but the signal was weak. Messages didn't send. She turned on airplane mode and kept her phone in her bag. Around her, people were jumping, waving flags, and standing on benches. She was in the middle of the wave, happy, but stuck. Then the match started. Everyone shouted, and the space around her shrank even more. For the first 20 minutes, she stayed calm. She watched the screen. She tried to enjoy the moment. But the longer she stood, the more she noticed it. No space, no air, no way to move. Someone behind her stepped forward and pushed her shoulder. Someone in front raised a flag so high she couldn't see. A drink spilled on her foot. Then, after a big play on the screen, the crowd jumped together, and she felt herself pulled to the side. That's when panic hit her. She tried to step back, but her legs couldn't move. She turned to the side, but her arm was stuck between two people. She looked around. Faces, sweat, flags, elbows. No exit in sight. Her breathing became fast. Her head felt light. Her throat was dry. She had water in her bag, but there was no room to even reach for it. This wasn't fun anymore. She told herself to stay calm. She had read about crowd safety. She knew she shouldn't push. She shouldn't fight the people around her. Instead, she started looking for open space. Every few seconds, the crowd moved, left, right, forward, backward, like waves. She waited. Finally, a small gap opened near her left side. She turned her body sideways and took a step. Then another. Then another. It wasn't easy. People were shouting, cheering, jumping. She apologized under her breath as she moved. Nobody noticed her. They were focused on the screen. But she kept going. It took her nearly 20 minutes to get to the edge of the crowd. When she reached a fence, she leaned against it and took the deepest breath of her life. Then she opened her bag, took out her water bottle, and drank. Her hands were shaking. She looked back at the crowd. It was still beautiful, still exciting, still loud. But from a distance, it was also scary. She sat down on a low wall. A family nearby was watching the game and eating popcorn. Kids laughed and pointed at the screen. Layla felt better. When the match ended, the crowd exploded with cheers and fireworks. Her team had won. Layla clapped and smiled. But from the outside, she stayed until the crowd began to move out, slowly, like a river. Then she joined them. Walking back to her hotel, she thought about everything that happened. She had wanted to feel the energy of the fans. She had wanted to celebrate with people from around the world. She got that. But she also learned something else. Crowds can be dangerous, even happy ones. She had never felt fear like that before, and she had never appreciated air, water, and space so much. That night, back in her hotel room, she opened her notebook and wrote, "The fan zone was magical and terrifying. I learned that excitement can turn into panic without warning. And I learned that it's okay to step away when something doesn't feel right." She closed her notebook and got ready for bed. She still loved the World Cup. But from now on, she would always stay near the edge. You just listened to a full story told in clear, natural English. You learned how to use past tense and sequencing, descriptive emotion words, movement and direction phrases, real-life vocabulary about safety, space, and reactions. And you learned it all by listening, without notes, without grammar charts. That's how stories teach. Have you ever been in a huge crowd? How did it feel? What did you do? Write your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. See you soon.